Jeff Slauson here from 19 News Now at the 19 News Digital Desk, going to be bringing you live to a look at the 2023 Governor's Summit. This essentially is a collection of leaders from states and also from provinces around our area. Yes, this includes Canada. And essentially what this does is this gathers those that are connected through the Great Lakes, through the St. Lawrence River, to talk about what needs to be done regarding the space that we share. Whether it comes to environmental impact, tourist attractions, things like that. And what this looks to do is aim for points and plans for the future. Now, Governor Mike DeWine is the vice chair of this committee. He has been for quite some time here. And they are looking for what needs to be done in the future, very much so forward thinking. There's going to be a tree planting ceremony as well, but we take you live where Governor DeWine will be speaking.
Well, first of all, we'd like to welcome everyone to Ohio and to Cleveland. We have looking at the agenda, I think we have a great couple days ahead of us. But my experience has been the informal interchanges and exchanges of ideas are certainly a good part of this these meetings. We all have a lot of things in common. Certainly, one of the things that we have in common is our Great Lakes and our desire to keep them clean and make sure that they continue to be the great resource they are for fishing, tourism, and commerce. One of the things that we have been able to do in Ohio is in trying to deal with our algae bloom problem is what we call H2 Ohio. We actually have a display back there. Anyone can take a look at that. But it's really essentially two things as we modeled this out and tried to look at the best things that we could do. One is the construction of many wetlands. We're in the process of constructing 150 wetlands. These are permanent. These are things that will help keep the algae bloom down. The other thing we have done is really focused on better farming practices. And we've enrolled over 2,400 farmers. We're helping them, giving them economic incentive in regard to doing better farming practices, and we know in the long run that will make a big difference as well. We just came out of a meeting where we had a number of resolutions. I might just talk about one of the resolutions that we had, and that has to do with, again, a common problem that we find in our Great Lakes states, and that is the lead problem, both the lead paint problem, but also the lead pipe problem. And as we discussed a few minutes ago, it is a awesome task to try to deal with this. And so we have a resolution which we'll make available to the news media about that. I would just mention a couple things in regard to Ohio. Some of the things that we have done. We formed a lead advisory committee to help guide the state's efforts. That has been extremely helpful to us. We provided more than $44 million in grants for the identification and elimination of lead paint in Ohio homes. Almost $8.8 million to identify, remove, and replace lead service lines serving child care centers and elsewhere in communities throughout the state of Ohio. This is a work in progress. If you look at the resolution, one of the things that we know is a huge problem for all of us is not having enough really certified experts in the area of lead to go in and actually do the work. And so creating more of those experts is certainly one of the things that we need to do. We also call in that resolution for additional priority. As we have prioritized this in our states, we would ask the federal government to prioritize it as well. It is a national problem. It certainly hits the Great Lakes states harder, maybe than other states. Our basic older infrastructure, but it truly is a national problem, and it affects most of all our children, our most precious and very most important asset. Let me now introduce Governor Evers, who is our chair. Governor. Hey, Tony.
Thanks, Governor.
Thank you.
Thanks, Governor DeWine, and thanks for your leadership of this organization over the years, too. And it's great to be here in Cleveland with our fellow governors and also the representatives of Ontario and Quebec. You know, in Wisconsin, Lake Superior and Lake Michigan are critical to not only our economy, our cultural and our heritage, and obviously it's going to be an important part of our future. Our collective work across the Great Lakes, St. Lawrence region to preserve and protect the Great Lakes is really, really important. Today we're announcing several important actions to help promote our regional economy and protect our environment. First of all, the GP, is leading the partnership to encourage 100% utilization of each commercially caught fish from the Great Lakes, which will increase economic returns for those that are catching that fish, and also making our fisheries and more sustainable. To that end, 10 companies have signed a pledge developed by GSGP, committing them to productively use 100% of all commercial fish caught by 2025. Now that is something really extraordinary, and we applaud and thank those companies who will sign that pledge in the very near future. We're also launching the Great Lakes St. Lawrence Trees Initiative, a regional initiative with a goal of planting 250 million trees, and that's a hell of a lot of trees, by 2033. This initiative builds upon the tree planting of several states are already doing it, and provinces, including Wisconsin, already working on that, but so this will be a natural. The trees we plant now will create positive environmental and economic benefits for Wisconsin, our lakes, and our Great Lakes, the St. Lawrence region, for decades to come. And as part of the Trees Initiative, the GSGP is also launching the Great Lakes Green Events Program to encourage other organizations, to host gatherings to leave a positive footprint for the community, their community, and the region by increasing sustainability and planting trees in that local community. Our Leadership Summit is one of the first of these green events. We're actually going to be planting some trees in a few minutes, and looking forward to making that happen. You know, serving as the chair of this organization these last 4 years, we had a pandemic in the middle of there. It's been an honor. It's been an honor. This experience has been invaluable to guide my work as governor to make protecting and preserving Wisconsin and our region's vast and vital natural resources one of my administration's top priorities. So thank you, organizations, for that. And I'm also here to turn the reins over. And I could not be more excited to announce that Governor Gretchen Whitmer will be taking over as chair of the Great Lakes St. Lawrence Governors and Premiers. I'll tell you, Governor Whitmer is one of my favorite people. She will do an extraordinary job, and this brings important insight and guidance to that role. You know, people are ready for bold and urgent solutions that address some of the biggest environmental challenges that we're facing, not just in our states, but in our country and the world. And I'm confident that Governor Whitmer and her leadership and this organization will continue that positive step in the right direction. So, Governor Whitmer, how about a few words from you? Where are you? Please. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Governor DeWine, Governor Evers, Governor Holcomb, and all of the representatives from the provinces. I will only say this once, but it is good to be in Ohio today. It's a football joke for those of you who don't know about the rivalry, right? And I can't be too effusive because I need them to let me back into the state when I head home. Anyway, thank you, Governor DeWine, for hosting us. It's so good to be here with you. It is an honor to be here with my fellow Great Lakes governors and premiers to talk about our shared responsibility to protect our precious natural resources and to grow our powerful regional economy. They are absolutely interlinked. We are all blessed to be home to the finest freshwater resource in the world. The Great Lakes, and even sometimes people in here who live in the beautiful Great Lakes states don't realize, but we hold 21% of the world's fresh surface water. So these lakes define us. They power our economies. They support the health and well-being of our people. People who move to our states and provinces often cite the Great Lakes as one of their many reasons for moving here. And those who live here long-term say that the lakes are part of why they stay. So we have an awesome responsibility to the lakes and to our constituents to work together for the future of these extraordinary resources. And that's why the Great Lakes governors and premiers and the work that we are going to do is so incredibly important. It's a unique agreement that transcends partisan and international lines. It is centered on water, the first human need and one of our most fundamental responsibilities to protect and preserve as elected leaders. And that's why I want to give special thanks to my friend, Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers, for his leadership as chair of this organization. I got to spend a little bit of time with Tony and his wife and our colleague Tim Walls and his wife up on Mackinac Island, overlooking 2 of these beautiful Great Lakes. And Tony has done terrific work and has led us through a series of challenges while delivering tangible results. So I appreciate your leadership and hope to live up to the high standard you've set. And I'm honored to step up and serve as the next chair of this organization. This was truly the easiest election I've ever stood for. As chair, I look forward to building on our record of effective collaboration with tangible commitments. I'll continue reaching across the aisles and across the lakes to work with anyone who wants to get things done. And I will always fight to protect our Great Lakes. So with that, I just thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for being a part of this organization. And I'll hand it over to my friend from Indiana, Governor Eric Holcomb.
Well, thank you, Gretchen. And Indianapolis will be proud to host the Big Ten football championship on December 2nd, and yes, for some strange reason, if Indiana and Purdue aren't in that championship game, I'm positive, looking at 1 or 2, that we'll be happy to host in that suite. But I'm just reminded on a day like today. Alex Haley once said, "Find the good and praise it." And so I just want to pile on the praise for a number of these resolutions that we earlier saw through, and just to highlight one particular one that's near and dear to my heart and evidenced by a commitment that Indiana has made, as Gretchen and Tony and Mike said. A number of our states are already doing a number of these initiatives, implementing them. But this just takes it to a whole kind of next level. And as Tony said, we want to think about doing bold things in this limited amount of time that we have. The tree initiative is big and bold, and on a scale unlike I think our nation's seen. And so it's particularly a proud moment for me to say that here in the Midwest, we're leading the way. In Indiana in 2020, at a State of the State address, I said to Indiana, we're going to plant 1 million new trees in a 5-year period. That was in 2020, and we're up to 964,000. I am counting to date, and so we're ahead of schedule. We'll complete this early March, but this really shows that not only can it be done, but this new initiative is going to add, obviously, significant to that effort. And so, 10-year period, 2033, 250 million trees, that's a lot of natural scrubbers doing what they do best. And so for that, I'm just honored to be on up here with the premiers and my fellow governors from the Midwest, again, leading the way. Thank you.
Thank you, governors. And with respect to the 100% fish pledge that was referenced earlier, I'd like to recognize Sal Peralta, who's here, one of the signatory companies from A&A Marine Foods from Ontario. Appreciate your support, Sal. Thank you. And we'd now like to have a special announcement from Minister Biron.
Merci beaucoup. Bonjour tout le monde. Hello everyone, governors, minister. Governors, very pleased to be here. It was quite important for our Premier of Quebec, François Legault, that I come here today. You know that we've been doing business with the United States for a very long time, and we are looking forward to increasing competitivity in the third largest economy through new initiative to decarbonize the Great Lakes and New St. Lawrence region. We have our battery strategy and a robust maritime vision. And in this, new energy is developing between Quebec and the United States, and especially in the Midwest. We think it's a good idea that we host the next Great Lakes in St. Lawrence Governors and Premier Summit in 2025. So, vous êtes tous invités à venir au Québec en 2025 pour le prochain sommet des Grands Lacs et du Saint-Laurent. You are all invited.
Merci beaucoup. We'd now like to invite questions from media here in Cleveland, and we'll then take questions from those who are joining us remotely. Do we have questions
We
here?
have a microphone too. We ask that you offer your name, outlet, and then question. Tom.
Tom Henry from the Toledo Blade. Governor DeWine and also Governor Whitmer. Governor DeWine, you had mentioned Lake Erie's algal blooms, and Lake Erie's behind you. The other direction, there was a very well-known person named Jeff Reuter, who, is a retired Ohio Sea Grant and OSU Stone Laboratory director, who made a presentation a few minutes ago at a different event saying he's frustrated. There's been, in his mind, zero progress over all these years trying to address Western Lake Erie's algal blooms. And I wondered if you could offer some perspective on that frustration, if you think H2 Ohio is going to turn a corner and do things, and maybe Governor Whitmer could add some thoughts on how Michigan sees Ohio's progress here.
Tom, thank you for the question. We constantly rely on the best scientists to tell us, frankly, how we're doing. After I was elected, we put together a group of scientists to take a look at this, and frankly, to take a new look at it, and to determine the most cost-effective way that we could go at dealing with the algae bloom problem in the Western Basin. We did computer models. We came up with two principal things. One, as you know, is to pay farmers to use better farming practices. That is a cumulative benefit that continues over time. The other is we continue to build and will continue to build wetlands. We have either built or in the process of building 150 new wetlands. This is something that's never been undertaken before, certainly at least in the state of Ohio. Again, these are filters. These are natural filters. But we are in the process of, again, looking at this, reevaluating it, seeing how we are doing, and we take this very, very seriously. The state legislature, I think, has been given me the money that we have asked for. It's over $100 million a year. It's very, very serious money, and we're going to continue to monitor that. But when we started, the scientists told us you will not see results overnight. We have long-term cumulative problems, but we have to start, and we have started, and I think we've made very significant progress. But we will continue to monitor it, and frankly, we'll continue to rely upon the best scientists that we can find to tell us how we're doing. Gretchen?
Appreciate the question, and I think what I'd like to do first is just reiterate some of what my colleague from Ohio has gotten shepherded through. We have done some similar things. I would add to the fact that we've got one of the most aggressive water standards in the country, informed by the science, driven by concerns around PFAS in drinking water, but also lead, and certainly with the alga blooms that we've seen in not just Lake Erie, but also some of our inland lakes. And so it is the oversight and working with the agriculture community to ensure that we aren't seeing as much runoff and the chemicals getting into the water. But there are a number of additional things that I'd love for my experts to expound on with you if you've got time when we're done here. I've got Phil Roos, who is the head of my Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy, and they've been the tip of the spear on this for the state of Michigan.
Hi, Kim Palmer from Crane's Cleveland Business. Following up on the connection between water and economic development, we are looking here in Ohio to reshoring these large manufacturing companies, recently talking about semiconductors, and one of the big ways that we are looking to attract businesses is to talk about the fresh water that is here in Northeast Ohio in particular. So is this group going to talk about that connection between the freshwater regulations in these seemingly very water-intensive industries, and how that is going to work with also all of these sustainability initiatives that you're talking about?
Did I start as chair already?
You got it.
I'm happy to weigh in, and certainly want to invite anyone else up here to join as well. But, what you see happening across the country is, whether it's the Colorado or what is happening in the South or even the Northeast, are all confronting so many different climate crises. And I think here in the Midwest, we have a powerful story to tell. It is a part of economic development. But in order for it to be a strength of ours, we've got to keep it clean. We've got to make sure that we are making the necessary steps to be good stewards of this water. Governor Evers wasn't the only person I hosted on Mackinac Island. I hosted a number of governors from across the country, some of whom sat on that porch and said, well, I got to figure out how to get this to the Southwest. And I said, you ever say that again, you're not invited back. I just say that because we know that as we look to advanced manufacturing, we look to quality of life, we look to what is happening in climate and climate activists who want to be in states that are taking these things seriously and are taking the steps to protect this crucial resource. I think that is going to be we're going to be put in a very important leadership position, and that's why we've got to recognize the responsibility in front of us. And I would anticipate the convergence of these issues and a lot of the work that we're going to do together over the next couple of years.
Certainly water is one of our major assets, and we need to treat it like an asset, and we need to do everything we can to keep it good and to preserve it. But as we talk to companies about coming into Ohio, water is many times a major incentive. Some of the companies that we are bringing in use an awful lot of water. There's absolutely no doubt about that. Ohio remains a manufacturing state. We bring in Intel, they take a lot of water. We bring in other companies, they take a lot of water. So it's very much, let me just say, it's very much on our mind every single day. And like any other asset, we want to preserve it, and we're going to do whatever we can to preserve it and to take care of it.
Can I just add that these two don't need and aren't at odds with one another? A good, strong, vibrant economy that's leaning into the future is the very enabler that helps us be good stewards of our environment. And so there's a permitting process that has to be followed. There's a very selective process that we all, when we're trying to lure or woo business into our states, we're looking for people who, and they are as well, world-class companies that want to make sure their teammates or their employees are going to enjoy where they live, first and foremost, and work and play. And so the environment and recreation and the economy all complement one another. They're not at odds with one another. And that's the process that we go through when we're trying to woo these companies to our states.
Other questions for media here on site? Tom, let's just get a couple others. Pete, do we have questions from media that are participating virtually?
Yes, Andrew Miniger with.
Go ahead.
Excuse me. There's. Andrew Miniger with MER. I am wondering now, Governor Whitmer, that you're the chair of the commission. What are some of the issues that you're looking at dealing with that are surrounding the entire Great Lakes region?
Well, as you can see from the resolutions today, Governor Evers has spearheaded and put us on a path on a variety of fronts. I would expect to continue that work, but also work with my colleagues to ensure that the agenda that we set forth and work on together is reflective of where our mutual goals are. But I can imagine that we will do a lot when it comes to being aggressive when protecting the lakes, when it comes to practices and policies across our states and I want to say premiers, that's not right, across our lakes and provinces. Thank you. So I think that we will work on a comprehensive agenda with input from all of the important stakeholders. I'm taking over the stewardship of the organization, but I am not the organization. It's driven by a number of interests, and we've got shared priorities and some that maybe have not yet been put on the table. But we'll make some announcements in the near future, and you'll get a better line of sight into where we want to be headed.
We'll take 2 more questions, and the first we'll do from the remote participation. Pete?
Hi there, Caitlin Luby from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. I was wondering if you could speak to how tribes, First Nations, and Métis can be better included in Great Lakes Compact matters. Are there efforts underway to improve how they are included? And if so, what does that look like?
This is Governor Evers, and I can only speak for Wisconsin, but I know this is the case across all the states and provinces also. And absolutely, our native folks in our states, this is part of their DNA. I mean, if we don't involve them, we're foolish, and we are involving them. And I can just speak for Wisconsin. For example, the Red Cliff tribal nation that's that fishes in Lake Superior. They're actively involved with the very thing that we're talking about, and making sure that every fish is processed in a way that there's nothing left, and making it more financially suitable for them, but also better for the environment. In our state, the Great Lakes Intertribal Council is active in all water matters and continue to do that. I would say, from my vantage point, one of the things that we have to make sure is that the waters are also available to for wild rice. That is a major economic but also spiritual thing that our tribal nations are concerned about. And in order to do that, the water has to be clean, pure, and frankly not messed with by the white man.
And Caitlin, we'll be happy to follow up with you offline to talk a little bit more about the procedures we have for involving tribes, First Nations, and Métis. Last question online? No, Pete, we're all set. Tom, you get the last bite at the apple. Do you have a microphone?
Well, something that was announced today, I was hoping maybe that Governor DeWine and Governor Whitmer could respond, but anybody else also who wants to respond to the Department of Energy announcements about the hydrogen hubs. Toledo made a very strong bid, was unsuccessful. Marcy Kaptur and the University of Toledo and Cleveland Cliffs and others were trying real hard to get one. I know Michigan landed one, and Ohio's part of a consortium, and the Appalachia consortium. But I just wondered if you could give us some of your thoughts about the sites that were selected, and what you feel about that, and about Toledo not getting one.
Well, we'll celebrate the victories and not the defeats. We asked Battelle to take the lead in this. It made sense. They're a great research organization. This is going to result, it's estimated, in 18,000 construction jobs, 3,000 permanent jobs. It truly is about the future, and we're frankly very delighted. I got the call late yesterday afternoon, and we were certainly happy about that victory.
And I'll just share, I think that states were all partnering with one another and putting forth a lot of great competitive ways about addressing, this need and making an opportunity happen. And I believe that that was a part of the consideration, and that's why Ohio still benefits from one, and Michigan's proud to be benefiting. But we're certainly going to be in it with our partners with whom we put the proposal together with. So these are collaborations. That was the goal, was to really incentivize different states working together so that we can ramp up and move quickly and meet the needs and realize the opportunity in front of us. So we're very grateful and excited about moving forward.
And I'll just jump in here. We're part of two consortiums, actually. We have a twofer. And we're very happy about it, just for one reason, and this is the great part of all the projects, is that they're very different proposals. We're part of two very different consortia, but we will all learn from all the consortia. I feel that they made all the right choices because they did two of ours, but the fact of the matter is we're all going to learn from it, and we're going to directly move hydrogen much more quickly than ever before in the country.
Well, thank you very much to all of you who joined us here in Cleveland. Thank you to those who joined us online. You can find copies of the resolutions, the 100% Fish Pledge, and the other things that were referenced at the Conference of Great Lakes St. Lawrence Governors and Premiers website, gsgp.org. For those who are here in Cleveland, I would like to invite you to go down on the lakefront terrace where we'll be planting a tree. There'll be an opportunity for photos with the governors and the other leaders who are here today, and look forward to joining you on the downstairs promenade. We'll wait just a few moments to let you make your way down, and then we'll be there shortly to join you. So thank you very much.
All right, so that wraps up the Great Lakes St. Lawrence Governors and Premiers Summit held this year in Cleveland. Governor Mike DeWine, a vice chair of it. All right, so specifically the things I want to hit on really quickly before we let you all go here. The lead problems and the 100% utilization of the water are two main things that are plans of all of the administrations that were present. Of course, what does that mean? Well, we're going to break that down today on 19 News at 4 and 5. Of course, our newscast is started over on CBS for our 3 o'clock newscast, and we'll continue on for 3.5 hours of nonstop news. For now, I'm Jeff Slauson of 19 News. Have a great night. Much more to come, both on air and online.